Of course, he probably has his own story. That it says there's always two sides to every story. This is my side.
Right.
And we never really sat down and talk about how we felt or what was going on. The whole thing, we have never been able to talk about it in all those years. And then I got sick. He went to England, and I went to a birthday party for my daughter's husband in Harlem. And I realized I didn't eat for days. For days I was there and I wasn't eating, I wasn't hungry. And she had food, and the food was nice and hot. And I just ate the food because suddenly I was hungry. I didn't eat for days and I didn't even realize it, because in my depression, even after I came out the hospital, I still had some because I didn't follow the instructions. Eventually, I went to the hospital. I started to get this pain, like the diverticulitis. And I went to the hospital emergency. The pain kept getting worse. They admitted me. And my belly was getting big. I couldn't go to the bathroom either way. And I was having high 106 temperature. 7 o'clock the night, the doctors came to my bedside and they said to me, "We have to give you an ileostomy." I said, "What is an ileostomy?" Where they'll cut here and they'll put a bag, I'll stool in the bag, they'll close me up. And I says, "What?" It says, because that the guts had twisted. If we don't do that, it's going to burst in the night and you can get peritonitis. And so we have to do this surgery immediately, and we need your signature. And then I says, "Well, how long is this going to last?" I said, "A year or two." I said, "What? A year or two?" He said, "Yes, because the whole area is inflamed and they have to wait till it's fully healed before they can correct the surgery." And I said, "I can't do that. I can't do that. I just came out of a depression. I can't do that." Wow. And the doctor says, "We don't have no alternative." I said, "There's nothing else you can, no, nothing." I said, "I have good coverage." "No, we can't do nothing." So I got frightened, and I said, it was like 5 doctors. And I said to the head doctor, it was a black doctor, I said, "Doctor, if you can't help me, there's only one person who could help me, and that is my God. Mm-hmm. I got to go to him. Mm-hmm. I got to go to him because I don't understand this. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this. I'd rather die." I don't know. And he says, "Calm down." I says, "Well, can you give me at least an hour or two and come back?" And he says, "Sure, we are going to do the rungs and we are coming back, but we are preparing the theater to do the surgery and you must sign the paper." I says, "Good." And girl, I talked to God as I've never spoken to him in my life. With all that I went through, I did not talk to him like I did that night in that bed. I spoke with him on a one-on-one.
That's right.
And I said to him, "You made me. I'm made in your like image, and I am your child. I didn't ask to come here. You know me when I was made in secret. You know me better than any man on earth. And you give me husbands that is incompatible with me. And then now this, what have I done in my life to deserve this? I don't consider myself a bad person, but if I am, then take my life. Take it. It's yours." Just like that. I was just talking to him. And I said to him, I don't want to live like this. Just take my life. or tell me how I'm supposed to live as your child. Tell me so that I can live like that, because I don't know. Speak to me. Talking to God. And I will tell you, I don't know what happened. I just felt a whole big grin come on my face. I felt like I was light. I felt calm. I felt laughing. I can't explain to you that feeling when that spirit entered my body. I say it's the Holy Spirit. And when the doctors, they came for me to sign the papers, I said, I will sign the papers, but I won't need the surgery. So what you mean? I says, I spoke to my God, and he told me I will not need the surgery anymore. Right. And the doctor says, what you mean? I says, I will sign the paper. If anything happened to me during the night, then you can take me up, but I doubt it. So they said, they went and they conversed in a little thing, and they came back, and they said, well, we'll put a dentist tube. And they brought a tube till into this place here, I think. And they put a suction machine on the wall. And they took that tube and they pushed it down my nose. And they push it, and they push it, and they push it, and they push, and they push. I don't know how long that damn tube was, right down, and then the water started to bubble. The suction machine was bubbling. And then they gave me an intravenous, and they gave me something for the fever was 106 point something, and they left me there, and I went to sleep. I had needles all over. Oh, wow. I had in a tube because I couldn't do anything. And the next morning, no fever. I was able to go to the bathroom. I was healed. And when I told him, as you know, you almost lost me, he said, so what?
Who? Him who?
My husband, the Compton.
He sounds like he needs Jesus.
So what? This poem was written during a dark period of my life. I was hospitalized once for acute depression. And while I was in the hospital, this was my impression. After leaving and visiting other areas, I realized that it happens all over the world. And the name of this poem is Conscience. In the noisy confusion of feigned gaiety, sadness peaks from every face, reflecting only a glimpse of untold anguish sustained in silence. Children, wilted from lack of care, cries out, uprooted and planted in a garden of its own kind, where creed or color or race plays no part in this demented scene. Community conscience is at ease, while these unfortunate beings are put away so far eyes cannot see, or ears cannot hear their frightened screams, which falls like dead petals on deaf ear. Locked doors, concrete walls, cold floor, tears, feces everywhere. Deaf ears. We as a community cannot hear their frightened screams. Oh, what shame we must bear as we sit in polished cars, padded chairs, sons, daughters, near laughter everywhere. Deaf ears. We cannot hear their frightened screams.
Your poetry actually came out of your recovery. Tell us about that.
Well, coming out of the depression, I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, and I was helping the people who were in there, and like the nurses didn't think I belonged there, the doctors, but I was doing well, and I wrote, my first poem that I wrote was Black Boy, and that was because a young 16-year-old guy came into the hospital, smart, was in school, blah, 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 and went and fooled around with drugs. And then they brought him in, and I wrote Black Boy. Black boy, with talents not yet seen, just blown upon the scene. Oh, beautiful black boy of sweet 16. You came not from a tree. For 9 long months laid you in your mother's womb, nurtured and cared for, and then brought forth as one of God's child on earth. Black boy, what happened to your constitution? God gave you a brain. He made you to reign among desolation, confusion, shame. You must reign. For your ancestors' strength runs through your veins. And nothing is hopeless, black boy. Nothing is free. You can climb from your squalor to heights unseen. With your courage and wisdom, you can be free.
What inspired you to open a travel agency with offices in both New York and Los Angeles?
After I came out of my depression and I started to heal, I didn't go back to the hospital. It was too depressing.
Okay.
I had about $7,000 in the bank. And I used to go to a travel agency. In fact, I used to take trips when I took the band anywhere. People would travel along with the band, and so I'd go to this agency and get things. So when I was in the depression and coming out of it, I used to go there and help the lady to sell tickets and work with her and whatnot. And then one day I was passing and I saw this travel agency closed down, lots of papers outside, snow, and it was filthy. And a guy was with me that worked at the other travel agency, and he was standing, Walter, and he's standing with me. And I said, I was cross the street. I says, Walter, that place is going to be mine. And he said, yours? I said, yes. Well, after I acquired the agency, and we were operating there for a while, I was having a lot of problems with tan and taka. A lot of our people used to be left behind in Miami. They used to sleep on the floors in Miami because they would be bumped off the flights. And while operating the agency, they would tell my people that I didn't make the reservation or didn't confirm the reservation. But I don't understand.
And this was in what year?
This was in 1985.
Okay, wow.
This was in 1985. So I was getting very upset with that and thought that there was a need for an air flight into Belize. But nobody wanted to do that, and it seemed that people were afraid to do it.
Okay.
Then one day, a guy came into my house and said, would you like to charter a flight? He said, I have planes. I know where you could get planes to charter. And I says, well, would they go to Belize? Of course, that's the first thing. And he said, yes. I said, non-stop. Yes. Right away, all my antennas went up because I'm an entrepreneur by heart.
Yes.
We were running non-stop flight, New York, Belize, non-stop.
Wow.
First non-stop flight into Belize. We did New York, Belize, Salvador, and then we had one called the Round Robin. We went New York, Belize, Salvador, Los Angeles, Salvador, Belize, New York.
Wow.
And we ran those flights from June until October. I remember the first flight that came in. It was the first non-stop flight, passenger flight from New York to Belize. It was the first 727 flight that ever landed in Belize. And it was the first night flight that came into Belize. And when the plane was coming in, the guy circled. And he circled. And he started trying to figure out how he could land this big plane on this little runway. And they had the fire engines out there, some little fire engine. And the airport was lit. Every light was out there shining, lighting up the runway. And people were out there, and the plane was coming in. And when he made his last circle, and he came down, boy, I can't begin to tell you what that feeling was like. And it was full to capacity, Belizeans and Salvadoranians. And so we came in and the people were greeting and But we did that, and I remember we were doing it and it was fine until down the road they could not find the deposit, that the letter of credit that I had worked out with Ralph Fonseca.
Okay.
Who was the one person that said he'd help me, but at the same time he didn't, because the letter was, up to this day I haven't gotten that letter. I've never found it. Well, that was the beginning of the domino effect that I had. And the second thing is that even though I was paying the flights on time, paying for it, we had the money because we were making money. I mean, I handled millions of dollars. I was making money. I don't know what happened, but when the key airline did not want to come because they couldn't find the bond, we paid for another airline to bring the people in. Okay. And the airline did not show up at the airport, and people were waiting to come to Belize. And I'm waiting there at the airport, people waited, and I'm home getting ready to run out the door, and I got a call. And it says, listen, the flight is not at the airport, and it is not coming. I said, what? I just felt my knees buckled under, and I just buckled right under. And then I got on, and I said, what do you mean you're not coming? And he says, well, something is wrong with the plane, and they can't move the plane, and a whole lot of excuses, but it wasn't about the money because they had gotten paid. So I went to the airport, and all the people were there, a little upset. Yeah. Now, that same day while I was there, the day before when the flight went out, there was this guy at the airport who owns a plane, and he's saying to me, let me take out this flight for you for tomorrow. And I says, but I already paid somebody, and I already have a plane. And I can't give you the business because I have a plane. He says, well, let me take it out anyway, because I don't know. So he says, well, why are you asking me to take out the flight? I have a plane. I paid for it. It's going to be here tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, he knew that the flight wasn't coming. Because the next day, when the flight didn't show up and I went to the airport, I'm looking all over for this guy to get him to come, and I couldn't find him. And finally, I called his office somewhere in Denver, and they told me he was at the airport at the Holiday Inn. So I got in touch with him. He slept at the airport because he knew that this flight wasn't going to come in. He says, I'll take the flight over. I said, but I already paid this other agent, this contractor. So we called the guy in Las Vegas who had the plane, and he says, well, that's no problem, he'll give him. So they worked out the money part because I didn't have extra money to pay him. Yeah. And he said, all right, I'll take the flight for you, but they have to move from one terminal to the next terminal. So we moved to the next terminal, everybody happy now, they are going to come to Belize for the 10th. And when we got to the next terminal, his people checked in the people, gave them their pass and everything. And I'm going up now, everybody waiting for the flight to come. It's a night flight. And I'm going up now to sit with the people. Everybody just checked in already. And the airport phone rang. And they paged me, and I went to the phone, and it was him. And he said, Carrie, I can't take the flight. I said, what? He says, one of my pilots had alcohol, and under no circumstances can he take the flight out, but we can take it out tomorrow. And I said, oh no, these people been at the airport from morning because of the first flight. No, you come, this is about 6 o'clock in the evening, and you can't take the flight. I mean, why? I say, you check them in, and they say, yes, but I couldn't stop it. And the plane was coming right from Philadelphia.
Wow.
And boy, I had to go up and tell the people that the plane wasn't coming. And when I went up there and told them, people who I knew, people who were my friends, people who buy tickets for me all the time, been in my agency, been to my home, if you had seen how they behaved, unbelievable, unbelievable. So what I did, I says, listen, if any of you, I had the travel agency, so I says, if any of you want to go on Eastern in the morning, and if anybody wants to stay in a hotel, I'll put you up in a hotel because I know you are all out here all day. And cost, I knew I was hurting myself, but I couldn't stay there and let this happen to them. So some people went into the hotels, some went home, a few of them that was considerate, and the others, one girl went on so badly. She and her mother, so I went to the agency and wrote tickets for much more than and when they told me that when they went by Eastern Airlines, they were waiting for them. It's almost as if they knew that this flight wouldn't go out. They were waiting for them when they got there. And they said, Miss Carrie, it have to be sabotage, because by then the airlines knew that we were making money. The Daily News in New York, if people came in, somebody must have told them about this flight, or they know what's going on, and they came to the agency to interview me. And they asked me about the flights. I didn't have anything to hide.
Right, exactly.
And then it says, they've had the headline, travel agency turned millionaire. And the airlines, they saw that headlines, and now they realize, there's revenue in Belize, there's revenue in Salvador. They didn't want to go to Salvador because there was a war on. But when they saw that, they were there waiting for our people to bring them into Belize, to Miami, and then to the flights into Belize. So all of them were there in cahoots waiting, because we were taking business from Taca We were taking business from TAN. We were taking business from Eastern and Panam. So they were, you know, and we were full every time we came in because it was easy for the passengers who were living in New York to come directly to Belize.
Exactly.
The time was shorter and they knew it was a non-stop.
She was targeting the Belize market. She knew that she'd get down into those people. She knew that they knew her and accepted her. That was her niche market. But in the process, she was giving the airlines initially, as groups coming down, she was giving them so many people that they sort of pricked up their ears and said, Belize, Belize, what the heck is this? What's all this about Belize? But the airlines took it to the next level. But she's the one that kicked it off. She's the one that brought the attention to the fact that there is a place called Belize, that it is a place worth visiting.
But we lost everything. In the final analysis, because we weren't really prepared, I said to anyone who is going into business, you must know all about the business before you make that attempt.
Now, as owner of one of the largest Belizean-owned business in the States, did you receive much support or acknowledgement from the government of Belize?
None. Not
Okay.
one of them extending themselves to help us or to give us business. As a Belizean having a travel agency in New York, in the whole of Belize, in the whole of America, I have never gotten business from my government.
Wow.
They have never, and they traveled, all these ambassadors traveled all over the world. They never gave us any of that business. I applied for some of it and they didn't even respond to my application for that. As a matter of fact, my daughter Camilla got a job to head the tourist board in New York.
Okay.
And she was treated so badly, it is disgraceful. Because she came here for the interview and she got the job just through Henry Young because he knew the family and he knew Camilla had this same degree and
Yes.
he offered her the job and she came for the interview. And you know what they told her, the directors of that whole body? That she cannot affiliate herself with Kamei Travel. She cannot. You would think that I'm the only Belizean travel agency in the United States serving Belizeans all into London, all over the United States and outside of the United States. And you would think that they'd give a supporting hand? No.
Wow.
They don't want, if they knew that she had any kind of affiliation with me or with the agency, she'd lose the job. So I never ever went up to their office. So these are the experiences that I had. And there were a time when my daughter didn't even have money to pay her employees. They wouldn't even send her payroll money. And she'd have to come to me and ask me to lend her money to pay the employees that was in the office because they didn't send the money to her.
Wow.
And she'd be writing money. That's right.
Right.
And so I got really pissed off. I didn't go to the tourist board. I never entered it until when government changed and the second set that went in there, they went in like if it was they were so abusive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So they were worse than the first.
Both of them are like, as far as
Okay.
I'm concerned, because they were very abusive to her. You know, I think she blamed me because I kept pushing her to work for our government because all my children I brought to Belize to know Belize, to know their roots, to know where they came from, who they are, and their children. Because if you don't know where you came from, you can't really know who you are, and you won't know where you are going. So I knew that this was their roots, and they had to know where they came from.
So after all this, what eventually happened to your travel agency?
The agency in itself, I worked that from 1979 when we opened it. But again, we opened the corridor into Belize for tourism.
Okay.
That is a fact. Because after that, Eastern came in. They came to us to give us contracts. I go to Houston, to Dallas, Miami. I was all over the place negotiating contracts. Then Pan Am came. They all came to our agency. They all came. I went in. Sometimes the table would be pure white guys, you know, and the only black woman, Belizean, foreigner, you name it. And I would negotiate the rates. Those low rates that Belizeans used to get, I was in there negotiating it.
Okay.
The reason, one of the things that they did, now because I was selling Belize was my market, and I'd go in there and fight for the rights and for the rates. They had, once I negotiated it and got the rate, they wouldn't give it to me alone. Mm-hmm. They had to give it to some of their multi-million-dollar sellers, like the people then that would have Brazil and Panama and Guatemala, so they have to give them Belize too. Mm-hmm. So I had competition, but I didn't mind the competition as long as I had the rate. I know Belizeans were going to support me.
That's right.
Then the agencies would, after a while, the bigger agencies, because their market wasn't Belize, let's say they had Brazil and they're making their big money from Brazil, they would lower the rates to Belize lower than me, so that even though the commission is small, they were getting the market, right?
Gotcha.
And Belizeans would run there for a $10. They would go to that next agency and leave us there. And so as that diminished to the larger agencies, I started to have problems. But I had some faithful people
that
traveled with us for years and years and years. There are Belizeans who would never have gone anywhere else.
But I think Carrie is also one of those very clear examples that you can take the person out of Belize, but you can't take Belize out of the person. She went away. She did very well when she was abroad. She was successful at what she was doing, but she came back. And this is where she wanted to be.
In a world of givers and takers, Aunt Carrie is definitely a giver. She gives freely of herself, and if you ever happen to come into her home, whether it's through a friend, a relative, or it don't matter how you get to her house, once you're there, you become a part of the family. She gives freely. She's willing to share whatever she may have. And that is a trait in her that is always there, no matter what.
What activities are you involved in today?
Well, at this point in my life, I'm writing poetry. I'm retired, and I'm doing poetry because that's my first love. And then I got involved with the No Matter What movie, which I did anticipate.
How did you land the role of Mr. Master in the television series No Matter What?
Well, I met Curtis Juliet at a session he was doing for training for acting. And for some reason, that's what I said I wanted to try out. And then the next day, Denver Fairweather came to my house and told me that Curtis had recommended me for this part as a grandmother and if I'd like to do it. And I was surprised, and he says, would you like to read for it? And I said, no, I was ready to read at that time. I was too nervous and it was nighttime. So he says, I said, when are you sure? He said, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is... Anyway, I'll come and try it out, and if it works, fine, and if it doesn't, then that's fine also. How does that sound? He said, yes, that's fine.
And
so I went the morning, and it worked out. I got the part. This second soup season just right. I could taste the fresh cilantro rotted careless. They are some valuable pictures, you know. They are valuable pictures and clippings. Lord, boy. Come here. This is Granny Archives. This is your background. They are your people. This is your history. This is the history of Belize.
Who this land?
This, that Mr. Philip Goulson. He died a few years back, but he was a true born Belizean patriot. He fight for this country. He fought for Belize. The time to save your country, that before you lose it. That was his famous phrase, Leroy. Remember that, little Roy? He made famous. Okay? Anyway, baby, that time you go to school, you're late, okay? Run on. Okay, baby, bye.
What has the acting experience been like?
It's something that is beyond belief. Walking the streets of Belize, the children especially recognizes me. Grandma Thomas, isn't that the lady on TV? And they run to me, they point. A little boy the other day walking and touching her sister. See the lady? See the lady? I mean, women, men, Spanish people from I don't know where. You the lady in Spanish, you the lady, yeah, we see you TV, blah, blah. But people would come and make comments. What I like about it is that Belizeans are not afraid to tell you how they feel when they want to. Because they'll tell me, oh, you did a good role, I like your role, and they everywhere I go, but it's the children. One lady said to me today, I was out there by the market, and she said, aren't you the lady on TV? You're the lady, Grandma Thomas. I says, yes, I am. So, oh, my children would faint if they saw you.
So then that was leading to my next question, which was, how has the viewing public received your character?
I feel that finally, my Belizean people have poured out their heart to me personally. And no matter what, that I will go to my grave feeling very happy about. So there'll be a smile on my face with that. I really am happy about it. I'm thankful.
Tired, I'm sick and tired. It's nonsense, man. I get enough of this foolishness.
So, now where you the real up suffer now?
Gran, you know I just met Randy over at Dan Man messing around with that CD and music again when he damn well know he should be in school, but you wait, I'm gonna whip his ass when he come back.
Girl, Margaret, I tell you, stop beat up that boy.
Grandpa, you wouldn't listen, it just wouldn't listen. I'm tired of talking to the child. You know Dan Man said he wrote a song about it, pa?
I tell you, the day may come when a boy may want to know who they pa. I tell you, Margaret, I may tell you.
Not you too, Gran, not you, man. Lord, what is this? I just told that man to leave it alone, and now you come with the same nonsense. Don't you people think I have enough on my mind to worry about as it is?
All right, Margaret. All right. I will just left you alone, make you live your life the way you want.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do that.
In fact, I'm going home. Call me if you get busy.
Seems that you've done so much with your life already. What activities are you doing today, and what lies ahead for Miss Carrie Fairweather?
Who knows? I am 73 years old. I'm still energetic.
All right.
My faculties are intact. A little forgetful here and there, but You could give me a phone number today and I will remember it. My phone book is in my head. I still remember any number you give me. You could give it to me, I repeat it. Very few I would forget. I don't always remember faces. I'd forget a face, but or name, but not numbers. And I'm really looking forward to writing poetry because I got somebody. As you know, I have an island, Ellis and myself.
And who is Ellis?
Ellis Belgrave, my partner for life.
Wow, and you say that with a smile.
He's the person I met when I came out of all my problems, and I think God gave him to me.
Okay.
People say God don't answer prayers, but he does, because he finally put somebody in my life and especially in these years when you get
who you are.
Yes, especially as you get older, to have somebody that just at your side to compliment, like you say, who I am now. And I'm very grateful for that.
When you see Carrie coming with an idea, you either get with it with her or get out of the way.
And she has, one time, the minister, Henry Young, was then the Minister of Natural Resources when she was trying to acquire this island from the government of Belize. And Henry Young told him, he says, there's a little old lady coming from an island way out there. He said, give it to her, she has balls.
You own an island resort and a guest house in Placencia. How did that come about?
John Watler came to me and said, there is an island for sale out there. Would you like to go see it? I knew I didn't have no money to buy no island, but I went anyway.
Yeah, right.
Down south there. And this was Nicholas Key on the Sapodilla Range. And when we got out there, Lindsay Garber took us, and it wasn't really what I wanted because 5 or 6 people owned it.
Okay.
But coming back in, he says, you see that island over there? It's mine. And that is for sale. He said, I leased it. He came in, and of course, we negotiated and whatnot, and we went into partnership. That didn't work out fine, and I paid him off my share, his share, and I went in and bought the island from government. And so between it, when I told Ellis I bought an island in Belize, he went bananas. You go at it again? He said, we just came out of a deep hole, and you go at it again? We just thought to me. And of course I did. And then I felt bad afterwards. So he came, and when he saw it, but we didn't pay everything. It was increments, and we were working and we were making money.
Afford it, definitely.
So he said, he came back, I have an island. We work it out. And then after we bought it from government, we really had to work really hard. It was rewarding. We still have the island, and we still have the hotel, Serenade Guest House in Placencia.
Okay.
But I'm so tired of business. I am tired because when you do things like that, it's struggling, it's still struggling. It looks like you have a whole heap of money, but you really don't, because you keep putting in to improve. And so we have both places is what we have acquired, because my daughter shut down the agency in New York after 9/11. Things went really bad. Nobody was traveling, and it was tough. Then 9/11 was in September, and in October, Iris, and our whole place was totaled out.
Okay.
And the place on the island too, and my son didn't report that, so we didn't get insurance on that. And so I came home in 2002, finding Ellis struggling real hard. He came the day after Iris hit.
Okay.
And when he came, the place was devastated, and he called me and said, I'm not coming back. I said, what do you mean you're not coming back? He says, that's it, I'm not coming back. So I stayed on for another year, and then I came with the intent to go back, and I'm still here. New York. New York I came. Flamboyance was my name. I knew me, she, and her, embracing all. In darkened dungeon basement, we laughed, sang, danced to deep soul music, hugging tight. Not even air could pass till daylight. Emerge into Sunday morning's glorious sunlight, blinding our tired eyes. Memories. Loved ones gone. Disaster come. Life changes day by day till innocent laughter fades. No, just a frightened cage. New York, I love you so. You gave me all a heart's desire, and I, in turn, shall lay my youthful heart at your feet forever. Time's glory's gone. Now I must go and lay by my ancestors' tree with fond memories of what happened to me.
Miss Carrie, with all that you have endured and overcome in your life, what would be your advice that you'd give to young people, young men, young women out there? What would be your contributing advice to them right now?
I would say to them that the life you have is a gift from God. It was given to you and you only. And you must make sure that you use it, that you do something positive with your life. That we only have 70 years on earth. At least that's the score, three score and 10. And within that time frame, you should really live and enjoy it. It's a short life. Sometimes when you're young, you think you have a whole lot of time, but you don't. This poem was written for a friend whom I visited when I went to Belize. And she was all alone. She was baking and cooking and selling food. And all her children had gone to the United States and left her. She was telling me about her pains and getting up in the mornings. And I also saw another friend who came back from the States. He was in his 60s, and he had all these plans and dreams for the future. And he got sick. And it's called age. So tired. It is time to rest. It seems so pointless to proceed. A cruel joke was played on me. I was allowed to stay, to dream, to plan another day. Just a foolish joker on life's pathway. Sunbeams flicker on my eyes. Oh God, I have another day. These endless pains I must endure at break of day, when I must rise with deliberate steps to make sure I do not fall. For if I do, who will be there? This cross of age is mine. My only solace is each man has his turn to taste the fantasy of youth captured in a body of time. To eyes who does not understand, there is a youthful spirit in my soul giving vigor, if expressed, does make me seem like a fool, huh? Mirrored reflections with frightening speed turned me into something unreal. Though I was prepared day by day to age with time, never for this transformation, struggling, adjusting, accepting with grace. For it is hard to believe the beautiful young girl is still me.
Aunt Carrie is an example to all of us in the family and with the people that she interacts with.
I believe that you can tell if you're not compatible. Don't try to cover it or try to find reasons and excuses. If it's not right, then cut it. If it don't fit, don't force it. Just let it be, because somewhere down the road of life, you will find someone who will care for you. Living is about caring. If you have a partner, make sure that that partner loves you and cares for you. A person who cares for you cares about who you are, what you're doing with your life. They try to uplift you. They don't try to hurt you or do things that will aggravate you. If you find someone that is doing those things, they don't really care. And if they don't care, it's time to cut it, because you won't change it. You will not be able to change it. And remember, you are a person unto yourself.
Right.
I am a fair example, 6 children. But I never thought for 1 minute that I couldn't do it. There's no such word as can't. You can. I don't say you won't get these feelings, but you got to overcome it with hard work and perseverance, and always have a goal in life. He said, live for something and have a purpose.
That's right.
And that purpose you keep in view. If you drift like an empty vessel, you can never to yourself be true. And half the wrecks that's through life's ocean, if a star or a goal had been their guide, they'd have now been safely riding, but they drifted with the tide. So you must have a goal. And one of the most important things is you. I am made in the image of God. I'm a gift. He gave me life. It is a gift, and I must appreciate it. And every moment, every day must be a progressive day. Don't look back. If you keep looking back and holding on to the things that was, you become a pillar of salt. Just keep plugging forward and you will succeed. Most of the people who have succeeded are people who stayed with it. They fell down, you get up, you brush your butt, and you move on. That was yesterday's page. Turn that page and move on.
That's right.
And motivate yourself. Don't hang on to another person for your motivation and for your success. It's about you.
Well said and well put, Miss Carrie Fairweather. And at this moment, I'm sure that all Belizeans are proud that you are a Belizean.
Well,
Thank you very much.
thank you very much. I'm proud to be a Belizean. Very much so. Thank you too. Awakening. Belize, I saw your name in a foreign distant land. In a foreign land I be, amidst all activities on concrete pavement with cars a honking, buses going, siren going. And in all of that, my soul took flight. And I was home to celebrate Belize. My soul and I are entombed as we coast along the seacoast zone, hearing the rattle of Garifuna drums beating melodies to coconut palms, and the sea breeze with their everlasting tunes. Celebrate Belize, celebrate Belize. We dived among the corals where fishes look at you. The sanctuary was filled with sharks and stingrays too, accepting their security with gleeful innocence. As they swim and move in rhythm, their bodies seem to say, celebrate Belize, celebrate Belize. We took a flight, my soul and I, to the ruins of Lamanai, St. Antonich, and Caracol. We climbed atop their majestic heights among the clouds, with ancient voices come alive. Celebrate Belize! Celebrate Belize! We sat upon the Coxcomb Mount and heard the jaguar's distant sound. The forest came alive with songs of its inhabitants. Toucans, birds, butterflies, snakes, and crocodiles, safe in the confines of their home as they frolic, dance, and sang. Celebrate Belize, celebrate Belize. Standing on the seashore of Placencia's sandy beach to see the mystic miracle of a real harvest moon. Slowly, slowly, she came into view from some unknown eternity. She rose in awesome majesty. Her divine light shone and glistened upon the waterfront as the waves gently beat along the seashore front. A divine awakening intervened. This is your land, my child. This is your land. Come home. Come home and join the celestial song and celebrate Belize. Standing on that concrete mound with the sights and sounds of my beloved home, my footsteps turned. I am going home. I am going home to stay and celebrate Belize. I would like people to remember me as an entrepreneur. One of the first Belizean women to even attempt a business venture in the United States of America. For instance, opening a travel agency wasn't easy. I didn't have any money to open no travel agency. That was by fate or whatever you'd call it. But I worked that agency, Ellis and myself. And together, we worked. It just wasn't me. It was both of us. And so nothing is impossible in the sight of God. Remember, that man up there, God, if you don't know him, find him. You find him because he comes first. You can't do nothing without him. You're nothing without God. Thank you.